everything to play for. When you get a chance to be on the Henley track, you're going to do everything you can, right, Mo?
You do. You leave it all out on the course, and in your opening race, you really are. Form book does go out the window a little bit, and whilst you've raced previous races in the build-up, you have many expectations as this week begins.
So they go to the Thames Cup first round, Tyne on the left, Twickenham on the right. I love that sound of the acceleration of the 8s, the trains pulling out of the station cleanly away, and looks like Matthew Pinson with his jacket off in the 32 degrees Celsius heat. Not sure what that is in old money, but it's damn hot.
It has been hot, and I do wonder whether some of these crews have had to adapt their warm-up. It is really hot. You don't want to be out in the water too long. It can be sapping and draining for you. So it's really important how you manage your warm-up in this opening day, and it does throw some of the plans maybe a little bit out the window. You maybe do a 45-minute warm-up and you reduce that to 35, but looks like a really nice start here from both crews.
Yeah, you called it right. I think you're absolutely right. You have to adapt to the heat. Maybe you won't go out for a training outing in the middle of the day and keep your powder dry, which means maybe you're a bit more nervous at the start of the race. But also, you don't need to warm up much in this temperature, do you?
No, you really don't, and it comes quite naturally. There's not that much room at the start to do bursts, so you just want to make it really efficient and productive when you do your warm-up.
So we get a chance to look back at the start, the beautiful Temple Island there, and the first marker shows us, well, in lane 1, Tyne Amateur Rowing Club have got 3/4 of a length, maybe a length already over Twickenham. So for Twickenham, hanging on to them in the first part, now we really have to start to power on if they want to hang on to this crew for much longer.
Yeah, it's really important in the Nate to develop and find that high speed in the beginning, especially through the island, and then hold on to that to as long as possible. And that's what it looks like Tyne have done really well. They've settled onto a race rhythm as they come through to the barrier marker. And at this point is when they want to just settle into that inch-in rhythm, that stroke by stroke, be able to create something that's punchy, powerful, and keep moving through.
Punchy and powerful it is. It's the barrier. That's 637 metres into this 2,112 metres. Number 1 goes up. That's for Tyne. And we'll see what the gap is from here as we get the read from the signal box there. And then we'll come underneath our camera, and here's where I love to see the movement of the 8s as we come alongside them. Let's pick it up and look at the power and the punch that you talked about.
There's some really nice tight blade work on both sides of these crews, and you can see here in the Tyne crew that they are entering the water relatively together, which is nice, and which is always harder to do when you are at higher rate under the stress and pressure of feeling that lactic acid is burning. It's really hurting, and it's really suffering now, but they look like they've got a nice rhythm. You can see that coming together and collecting the boat at the front end of the catch and then releasing it together off the finish.
Well, you've got some real experience here talking to us about how to row an 8 well down this track, Mo, and it's great to see what you pick up there, just looking at how Alice Lankan-Tachiko, the cox of the Tyne crew, is keeping really focused. So when you're in this position in the first round at Henley, like Tyne are, they are obviously in a pretty commanding position early on. What do? Do you kind of go all out to empty the tanks and just get fresh, or do you think about conserving? And how do you think about the race plan?
It's a long week for these crews in the Thames Challenge Cup, and there is a little bit about fluctuating and playing with this boat speed that you need to do. So most crews that do progress, they'll have to do a first bit to maybe about the mile mark, where they will go actually quite deep and hard into the muscles, and that's not a bad thing. You want your body to start to learn how to tolerate under that race pressure with the lactic acid flushing through your system. And it's up to the crew and it's up to the cox, and that's where the cox really does come key. Is you don't want to drive the crew on and on and on unnecessarily. It is about keeping your powder dry for, especially in these early rounds, but knowing that you need to keep your hand as close to the fire as possible to be able to feel that pain and learn to live with it.
Living with pain is one of the things that rowing is all about. Fortunately, there's also joy and teamwork and rhythm and the kind of poetry you can see now from the Tyne crew. free from the pressure of overlap and feeling confident. Now's when they can do exactly as Mo's saying, start to relax, rehearse through the race plan, still pushing it along quite strongly as they go through the middle of the course here. And then we're looking now down at the crew from Twickenham, who qualified in that field of 51 entries. Big field, so a big achievement for them just to qualify here, Mo, and super exciting for them as we look at the Twickenham crew. That is Gavin Craig at stroke, behind him Owen Beamish, Kabir Bedi, Tom Baldwin, Matthew Robinson, George Scott, Benjamin Hayworth and Charles van Bergen-Bow, coxed by Timothy Hurst. That's the Twickenham crew, enjoying the chance to be on the track and to open 2025's Henley Regatta.
And for Tyne and also for Twickenham, it's that at this point you don't give up. You don't just, for Tyne, you don't just sit there and relax and think, oh, we've won this, we've got this sewn up, because anything can happen. Somebody can catch a blade, and also in the eights, if you go too low on the rate, it becomes incredibly too heavy to get going again. And Twickenham need to just keep putting them under pressure. We've seen so many times where if you just keep budging your bow ball closer and closer to the boat in front, something can happen, and they have to believe that it can.
Absolutely right. It's a really important point, is to have that belief. And if you've watched Henley in the past, you'll have seen mishaps and mistakes happen, and it means that a lead can be overturned, particularly in this two-lane world of the duel of Henley Regatta. It's brutal. One crew goes through, the other crew goes out. And, well, I have to say, though, you know, Tyne from the start have looked really strong and really composed, haven't they?
They have, and like I commented on their clean blade work for a club crew. They look really together, and that shot from behind, from the enclosures, looking down the course towards the start. As you can see here, they're travelling. They look like they're bridging their puddles, so they're not overlapping and digging into dirty water, which is always nice. It looks like it's a clean chain with their blade work, and that will be a very nice confidence boost for them after the round one.
So a clean chain of blade work, and also a clean chain, one of the things about Henley, this view, the town, the history, a clean chain of events since the regatta started way back in 1839, and connecting yourself with your crew and with the competition and with that history is what we're all here for. So thank you to Tyne Amateur Rowing Club. From the northeast there, crossing the line first, commanding performance, and congratulations to Twickenham's crew that went through the qualifiers and had to raise their game here in the first day of the Thames Cup at Henley. Confirmation there of victory for Tyne over Twickenham.